All right, welcome to another episode of The Aligned Feminine. Today I'm sitting down and having a very fascinating conversation with Oshika, who is an ancient soul having an extraordinary human experience. She has had an early connection to the spiritual realm. At the age of 18, she embarked on her very first Vipassana meditation. She has worked for a non-profit, done a corporate job, after which she awakened to her inner child, and through various different healing modalities, she was able to eventually own her healing and step into her aligned feminine. Oshika is a new mom to a beautiful daughter who she birthed naturally, non-medicated, and at home. She is a certified sound healer and is now living her soul's purpose through empowering and guiding new moms through the journey of conscious conception and motherhood. Welcome, Oshika. I am so thrilled to have you on the podcast and share your medicine and your gifts with us today.
Thank you so much for creating the space where one can come and um, share this little magic of the world that we are living in. So I'm honored and delighted to be here. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So to start things off, this is what I usually ask everyone first. What does living in alignment with your soul's purpose mean to you personally?
Once you get the taste of the fact that you are connected with the source, and actually you are made of the same fabric that the universe is created of, you don't want to let go of that taste and you want to savor that on a daily basis. Once I realized and had the awareness that I myself am a part of the source and the source energy is flowing through me, I realized that who I really truly am. So just living in alignment with my highest expression on a daily basis in this ritual and ceremony of life really means near, like a very dear thing to me. I feel that I am living my whole dharma and purpose by living in sync with my real and true form and expression of this life. To simplify it, just enjoying every day and every moment and just being in the now is what is like a short statement for me, which means that I'm living in alignment, understanding my connection with the
Yeah,
source and just flowing with life. Yeah.
that's beautiful. Yeah, flowing with life. I think that's the crux of it all. And because you mentioned this, I want to go a little deeper and ask you, are there times where you remember that you sort of moved out of alignment? And if you do remember, certain times, was there a way for you to realize and figure out that, oh, you know what, I don't feel like I'm in alignment with my soul's purpose now? So, like, are there any ways in which people can try and figure out how they are living, how they know that they're living in their soul's purpose in alignment? And if they do waver off, you know, are there any skills or tools that you have that you use in order to come back to your center, to your core?
That's an amazing question. Once you start living in alignment, it is very quick to know that, oh, this isn't working out for me because now suddenly I'm doing practices or I'm doing things which are not in alignment with my highest self expression, right? For example, just in my case, recently I had emotions of doubt or fear, but and in the past 2 3 weeks I have been living from a space of, oh, people might judge me, or looking at people's judgment. So putting energy or even focusing on vibration of lower space is something that makes me at least out of alignment. So to come back in alignment, sadhana or practice is something that is needed on a daily basis. um, life, as I said in the beginning, is a ritual or a journey. So if I live my life from the space of a ceremony on a daily basis, for sure I will come back into alignment. Small little tips or tricks that I try and come back to my original self would be what you do on a daily basis, which is breath work. um, Regulating my nervous system by using the breath that is source of life is something that one can do even for 5 minutes to come back to, your happy joyous self.
Yeah,
But the dedication and the awareness that you have to come back to your original self is, I think, the first step. And once you do that, then you start flowing and you start creating your own rituals, which makes you
yeah.
happy. Like I play a song, a Shah Rukh Khan song every day in the morning, which pumps me
Oh, I
up and
love
gives me energy.
that.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, you can have your own little small little things that you can do to come back into alignment and come back to your true highest
Yeah.
self. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Also, apart from breath work, is there anything else that's part of like your daily practice of, any other mindfulness practice that you have, a spiritual practice that you do on a regular
Yeah,
basis?
yes. So I have been doing such practices since past 5 6 years now, because I started my own
Wow.
healing journey actively in 2018. Now in 2018 I realized that I had
Okay.
depression, and I wanted to get myself out from that space and heal the inner child, which had layers and layers of wounding stored in the subconscious. So few things that I do on a daily basis or regularly with intent is that I meditate every morning. That's an amazing start to my day. Journaling is something
Okay.
which has been near and dear to me. I do
Mm-hmm.
journal regularly to clear out whatever is still stored in my subconscious, and to make space and intention for whatever I want to welcome in my life and in my energy system. Um Cold showers is a thing that I have been doing since past 1.5 year, even while I live in Ireland. That is something that quickly energizes me for the day.
Yeah.
Yoga is one thing I'm not regular at, but that also kind of helps coming to the center. But yeah,
Okay.
meditation, breath work, journaling, and doing small little things. For sure, diet
Hmm.
is also something that I have seen tremendous impact on my own mental game. So if I'm eating healthy, I realize that my body is more agile, it has lots of energy to store more energy and positive energy. And if there are
Yeah.
days, old pregnant days, when I used to crave and eat chocolate cake, I could see how the chocolate cake was bringing me down. So yeah, it's a
Oh,
360
wow. Okay.
game, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing, even for me, it's like because I've been so intentional with how I am now moving forward, and I'm like a huge sucker for cake, right? Especially chocolate cake. It's like if it's there in the house, I will eat it. Whether it's meant for two people
Mm-hmm,
or three more people, it'll be gone. I have no self
mm-hmm,
control. And so I
mm-hmm,
make sure that
mm-hmm,
the people I live with, I tell them that please, like, don't bring cake as much as you can
mm-hmm,
into the
mm-hmm.
house. But I have noticed this change because, I was intentionally every day trying to connect with my higher self and, come from that space of, okay, what kind of decisions is she making? What kind of habits does she have? Or what would she be saying yes to, saying no to? And ever since I started doing that, it's very recent, like a month back, where it's been like very, very consciously I've been doing this. And for the past 3 4 days, in fact, there's like I was about to go on my period and I had this craving. I wanted like chocolate cake. And it's so easy now for us to just like order, right, on the phone. If you want something, it's going to
Yeah,
be there at your doorstep.
yeah,
And so I find myself going to the app, going to Swiggy, like picking out like what cake I want to eat, and I'll sit on it for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, then I'll forget about it. So it's been like not happening for me. Like it's not going there. And that's when I think connected the dots. I was like, oh wow, I think I'm like really beginning to embody her, because I don't know, somewhere in the subconscious, it's like it's trying to turn away from the chocolate cake, which is like, I'm very, very
Mm-hmm.
proud of myself for
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, yeah.
Something
Regarding, yeah, please tell me.
something that you said, that you sat on it for 10 minutes and then it passed away. So I find it true for myself as well. If you do not act on your craving then and there, the craving itself, sir, passes
100%.
away, you know. So next time if you are craving chocolate cake, give it 10 minutes.
Yeah, sit on it 10 minutes and maybe just had like 2 glasses of water. Probably you're just thirsty or
Yeah.
something. Most of the time is that also. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, regarding meditation, I wanted to ask you more specific questions about, like how long do you meditate for usually?
Everything is a journey, Akanksha. There were times when my first experience itself with meditation was when I did it for 11 days silently, where there were
That's the
times during my
Vipassana, right?
Vipassana. Yes,
Yeah,
my
okay.
retreat where I am sleepy, also thinking, oh, why we have to get up at 4, but still doing it, throughout the whole day. Uh, so it started with that. Then gradually when realized that, oh, I am in this phase of depression and I have to pull myself out of it, I intentionally started sitting every day without thinking of how long I can sit for. So it all
Okay.
started from that intention, that I am not looking at the duration, I'm just sitting. uh,
Mm-hmm.
up until last year, so starting from 10 minutes, up until last year I could sit for 3 hours. uh
That's
and
crazy. Wow. Okay.
and from sitting to 3 hours, now when I'm doing my dishes, I am in a meditative state. So once you start doing it, when it becomes your lifestyle, then you sometimes don't even
Yeah.
need to sit. But again, having said that, I have to sit on a daily basis so that I'm committed to my practice and committed to being
Yeah.
uh, that version of myself today rather than waiting for her in the future. So
Yeah.
meditation now, I have a baby who's just 7 months old. So from 5 minutes, 30 minutes to 40 minutes, whatever time allows or
Okay.
whatever is possible for me, is what I stick to. And my
Okay.
ritual is more of like it needs journaling, it needs XY other things. So I just try and chalk
Yeah.
out 1 hour for myself every morning where I do a mix of
And
things,
then you
which
kind of
is,
like just feel into
yeah,
what is intuitively
yeah,
coming for you to do in
yeah,
that 1 hour.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, that makes
yeah. So
sense.
i
Yeah.
i play bowls for myself. I quit my corporate job and I went back to India to learn sound healing. So I'm true to my practice. I play my bowls almost every day. Sometimes I even make my baby listen to the bowls and she reacts in amazing ways when I play frequency of
Oh,
heart, chakra, or things like that. So it is
yeah.
it is amazing how a new life comes onto this planet and perceives and learns and experiences things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, tell me more about your sound journey. How did you get into that? What made you realize that this is something that I want to try and learn in my life? Why were you drawn to it?
Sometimes I just listen to my higher self and I don't question it.
Mm.
Uh,
Okay, that's
and it has
beautiful. Yeah.
and it has started working for me that way. Not thinking much about it, just trusting that, okay,
Hmm.
it has come to me as a sign, so it means something. So let me just put my purest intention and follow it. Uh, so to answer your question, uh, my ancestors, or there's music in my DNA. So my
Okay.
mother's grandfather was a very renowned sitar player, and back in the 60s, he used to travel to the US, the Europe, to play sitar on stage and things like that. Um,
Wow.
and then my own mother is a music practitioner. She has a degree which is called Visharad, a 13-year long
Okay.
musical degree of playing different kind of instruments and
Wow.
classical
I didn't
music
even
and
know there was
things like
something
that.
like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I, on the opposite, because I had like a different life, not a privileged life like my mother. As a child, I wasn't really introduced to music because my mother was dealing with finding balance in her own tumultuous life, and she had a very difficult life with her husband. Uh, so, I'll wrap the story in brief. So, in one of my meditation or one of my retreats, I was journeying after having a plant medicine. I have used a plant medicine couple of times. There was this download coming from the source which kept on telling me to pursue sound or frequency. And while I was
Hmm.
having this download, there were a lot of classical music and instruments playing in that room. And
Okay.
it wasn't in India, it was here in Ireland, but the music was completely Indian classical music. So
Wow.
I just heard what my ancestor or my guides were guiding me towards. And I finished the retreat. I somehow gathered up and mustered the courage to quit my job. And I flew to India and I learned sound healing. And I came back and I started practicing it with other people. And I have clients here that I work with on a regular basis. So that's how sound came into my life. And yeah, and that kind of opened plethora of other things in terms of Ayurveda, of understanding the chakra system, of how our Ved and how our Purans and our ancestors actually knew the actual meaning and connection to the source and divine, and were leading a life which was more in sync with nature and the creation itself.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And that's what happens when you take that first step of courage, right? Which in your case was to quit your job. Everything opens up once you decide that I'm not doing this because this does not serve my soul, and I'm going to go after what the call that's coming from within. Everything just like lines up in a way after that. That's beautiful. Wow. Tell me a little bit more about what sound healing is. Like, how does it work for somebody who has not never heard of sound healing? How would you like explain it to them?
Sure. So your body itself is vibrating on a certain frequency. Your soul or your energy body, it isn't contained in your own physical body, it's outside your body as well. Up until
Right.
1 meter,
Yeah.
there are scientific instruments that can prove or that can measure your auric field, and your auric field has certain color and frequency basis on your identity or your thought systems. To
Yeah.
explain in a very small and easy way, for example, if you go to a party, you know who is happy seeing you, and you kind of can perceive negative energy from a person who's jealous of you, or who doesn't like you, or
Sure.
has some kind of negative low vibration for you. So that's how
Yeah.
one can perceive energy, and that's your energy outside your body. So in Ved and Puran and in Ayurveda, we talk about these seven key energy centers in your body. By the way, according to Chinese medicine, there are innumerable energy
Then,
centers and points in your
yeah.
body. Each chakra is responsible for a behavior pattern, has its own color, and has its own frequency. So, in sound healing, what we do is we use Tibetan bowls. These are bowls made of brass and copper and certain metals combined together. When you play the bowl, you produce certain kind of frequency which tries and aligns the distorted frequency of your energy center. For example, if a
Okay.
person can't feel love, or has some kind of lack of love in the entire childhood or adulthood, so his heart center is kind of blocked. So what the sound healers try to do is try understand what exactly is the physical manifestation of that misalignment of chakra in the life, of this person, and then
Yeah.
tries to align
Mhm.
the chakra using frequency and a modality of sound healing to align and bring you back to the center of your own body and your own system. So that's how sound
Okay.
healing works. Yeah.
All right. Okay. And it's interesting you said that sound healers will try to figure this out from the physical manifestation of what that blockage may have produced in
Yes.
terms of like
Yeah.
a disease
Yeah.
or a certain condition that you have.
Yes.
That's so
Yeah.
interesting. So, what would be an example of, for say, for example, if someone who has a blocked solar plexus, what could be the
Mhm.
physical manifestations of that?
So a blocked solar plexus has a lot of relation to your ego, your self-esteem, or the confidence and creativity part of you are. So solar plexus is one of the most key chakras of which helps you in being who you truly are, that is your creative highest version of yourself. So say for example, if somebody has like a blocked solar plexus, they will have a self esteem issue, they will have low confidence in whatever they
Hmm.
are trying to do. So it will pop up in such kind of situations or circumstances where you are not able to put your foot forward and have that kind of strength
Hmm.
to express who you truly are. Yeah. So any
All right.
kind of issue
Okay.
that one faces comes from starts from an emotional challenge. It is amazing. I have been studying
Yeah.
some books, and there's so much to learn and plethora of things to understand. But each and every physical manifestation of any disease
Yeah.
comes from the root problem of emotions and not being
Yeah.
aligned with your emotional body. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because at some point you experienced an emotion that you did not feel comfortable expressing,
Yeah.
and then you just like kind of stored
Yeah.
it in your body. It blows my mind
Yeah.
every time this comes up. And it's sometimes it's so difficult to also explain it to somebody who has no concept of all of this, and be like, that all your symptoms and all like the dis-ease that you have is because you're storing unprocessed emotion and there's stuck energy in your body. Like sometimes I feel like people might think I'm like totally insane if I say something like
Yeah.
that, but yeah.
Yeah. It was difficult for me to accept that I can't change anyone's thought process, and my clarity or the little bit knowledge
Same.
that I am gaining from here and there is will reach to whoever it has to reach. Someone will gain from it,
Yeah.
but that person
Yeah.
has to be in that space where there is awareness and openness to any kind of change or learning. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, receptiveness. Yeah, that's true. It was so frustrating for me as well initially when
Mm.
I started, because I just wanted to, grab hold of everyone and be like, breath work, try karo, karo.
Yeah.
But then very soon I realized it's not going to work like that.
So it happens with my mother very often, quite more often than I would like it to happen. But so my mother has this back issue, and I am also turning into my mother. Even I have one. So any which ways, I kept telling her that try acupuncture and it will help you, and start doing yoga. But I was telling her, and she was listening, and then she said that she's going to see some fancy doctor in Chandigarh, and she booked her tickets, went to see the doctor. The doctor said the same thing that I said. And then she's like, oh yeah, you were right, वो डॉक्टर भी यही बोल रहे थे कि एक्यूपंचर एक बार करा लीजिए आप
Wow.
और योगा करने से ठीक हो जाएगा. And I'm like,
Mm,
yeah, so you had to burn 40,000 rupees to learn that lesson. Okay, but yeah, so sometimes you can't change patterns and how people perceive information or where they
of
want to
course.
put their
Yeah,
trust, which is not my responsibility as well. So
that's
I
true.
let it go now.
Yeah. But what I'm actually really impressed is that that doctor actually like suggested some stuff like acupuncture and yoga, because usually they just give you medication to like suppress the symptom. That's it. So I'm actually like,
He's
wow, who is this
yeah,
doctor?
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's a physiotherapist. Don't know his name, but credits to, and kudos to him for saying that. Yeah,
Oh, he's a physiotherapist.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Now I'd like you to dive into your birth story. You know, what was it that did you always know you were going to have a natural, non-medicated birth at home? Was this something over the years through your healing journey, something that you came towards? Just like, yeah, just talk about all of that.
I always knew that I want to become a mother. This realization or this need of my body or my soul, I always had within me. Uh, and again, it comes back to the healing and the childhood and the trauma. It all circles back to it. But I think I had a lot of love in me that I wanted to share and give out. Um, so my non-profit work was also a
Mm-hmm.
result of that. I think I started thriving or enjoying it because I was able to share the love that I didn't ever receive, or I wanted these children who are not living in a similar life pattern as me, but are going through a difficult, tumultuous journey of their own. I now live in Ireland. All of my life, I thought that I will get pregnant in India in some five-star hospital where, I'll be taken care of and treated well. And so that was what I had imagined for myself. But in 2022, when my whole healing or my spiritual acceleration was happening organically on
Mm-hmm.
its own, I started walking on a path which of conscious conception. I'll talk later about conscious conception, but organically I was doing things which was just again in sync with my highest self, or what my highest self version would do. I got pregnant in 2022, and then I never thought that I will have home birth. But while I got pregnant, and because I had quit my job and I was doing the practice of sound healing, I dedicated 1.5 years of my life on just learning and reading more about this whole experience when a woman becomes a portal and delivers a baby into this planet. It kind of opened my mind, and that our body is so powerful and intelligent that just from a sperm and an egg, it forms an embryo which kind of turns into a whole human, you know. And here we are, uh,
Yeah.
sitting in a disease condition, challenging our bodies on a regular basis and not giving our bodies the right environment to thrive. I started attending a lot of webinars and
Yeah.
courses, reading lots of books, and I realized that I and my body have the entire ancient activated DNA who knows how to firstly grow this child and also then deliver the child on its own because it knows everything.
Yeah.
But we live in a system where we are told that, hey, it is a disease, you are sick, that you are pregnant, you know and our ancestors have been popping babies and produced billions of us, I don't know how. And this whole modern medicines or modern science has come only in the past 100 years or so. So when my mind opened to
Mm.
this multiple layers of information, and I started doing meditation to connect and to have trust and faith in my own body. So during my pregnancy, I decided that okay, I will have a home birth, and I will be in an environment where it is,
Okay.
for me, pregnancy and childbirth is very spiritual, and it's a mind game, because at the end
Mm.
you are calling a spirit into your life and in on this planet. So if you're
Yeah.
connected to the
Yeah.
spirit of your baby,
Yeah.
you can do whatever you want to, and you can bring it alive in this world, the way you imagine it to be. Not saying that people do not have challenges to the pregnancy, and no disrespect for the whole medical system which is there to help women who face challenges during the pregnancy. But I have this
Yeah.
strong opinion and belief that it is the attitude towards pregnancy in the entire world is slightly crooked when they think that it is a disease, and women are more stored with uh, fear, uh, and fed with information which is challenging rather than giving them positive way of thinking, which then kind of tricks your brain in having a smoother and a easier pregnancy.
Yeah. Positive way of thinking, and also having more faith in your own body's ability to handle, a very natural process. Yeah.
It is tough.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm sitting and smiling and talking about it. The night of my childbirth was uh, it, it was like a plant ceremony to me. It was excruciating. It
Mm.
was testing everything that I ever knew about myself. But then it gave birth to me as well.
Wow.
I saw a version of myself which I never thought that I
Yeah.
could be. And I am this kick ass woman who can do anything that I want to. So just that realization that how much power that you have is just phenomenal. Yeah.
While you were in labor, did you have any form of help? I think you had a midwife, right? You were saying?
Sure. So here in Ireland, it's a rigorous process. We were interviewed for 4 to 5 hours to, there was an assessment which kind of then approved us that we can have the home birth at our own house. We had a midwife
Okay.
who was with me in the in during my last trimester. She would regularly come visit me, and she knew that I am a spiritual person, and she knew that I want to have the whole childbirth in a particular manner. So there were dim lights
Yeah.
in the room, there was music playing throughout the whole
Nice.
night, there were mantras and chanting, and by the end of it, there were three midwives when my daughter was born, and it just felt like four women
Okay.
plus my husband just thriving. And in like when my baby was born, everyone was so excited and everyone was crying because there was just
Oh.
such sheer um, gratitude towards the whole process. And it felt like the angels have come down, and there were birds who were chirping for like almost 30-35 minutes. It just
That's
felt like
so
celebration of life.
beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know how
Wow.
it happened, but
Wow.
I am just grateful that I could do that, and my higher self led me towards it. So trusting your higher self is, I think, um, what I try to do on my in my day to day life as well. Yeah.
And now, because you are sort of, you're taking your work and your passion into helping other mums and mums to be. So, what is conscious conception? Because I don't think I also completely understand it. If you could tell me a little bit more about that.
So, as Dr. Joe Dispenza shares this story and talks about it, I would like to use the example that he does, which actually encapsulates on a science level and on an energy level of how a child spirit kind of embodies in your body. Um, so somehow
Sure.
our ancestors, before even conception, they used to separate the men and the women, and then for x number of days this man and the woman, they are leading a certain kind of lifestyle, that they want to be embodied in their own child. So, for example, if I
Oh,
am living
wow.
in a state of meditation and mindful eating, mindful watching, mindful interaction with my environment, if I am living in a high vibration, so for sure the embryo which is going to develop in my system will come of high vibration. What comes of light
Mm-hmm.
becomes light, right? So
Yeah.
when the sperm and the egg they meet, the emotion and thoughts of a mother and father kind of spark the energy that actually happens when these two meet. So actually when you see a video of an embryo and a egg, sorry, the sperm and an egg coming together,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see a spark happening. That is spark of energy that happens when the 23 DNAs of a man and a 23 DNAs of a woman comes together, and that's when genome imprinting
Wow.
happens. So, when the genome imprinting happens, everything in your thought and in your blood vessel is your energy, which is going towards the embryo. So, if you
Hmm.
look at stories in Ramayana, that when women are pregnant, or in our ancient ancestors, women and men used to live a certain kind of a value system of a life, so that they can give the same value system or ensure that the environment where you're putting the seed of your child, that environment is right for the seed to nurture and flourish into a beautiful plant. So the
Okay. Wow.
conscious conception was never my conscious decision. It just kept happening. Life was evolving and revolving in a format that me and my husband, we both were so connected, uh, and in such a healthy space in terms of our physical bodies, our mental bodies, and our environment, that we accidentally consciously conceived our baby. uh, you know
Wow.
so consciously putting an effort in bringing the next generation on this planet is something that you can call as conscious conception. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And regarding conscious motherhood, what are, give some of your own examples of certain things that you do with your daughter, which would be an example of like conscious parenting or conscious motherhood.
I do not relate to the term conscious parenting, because people think that they need to
Okay.
consciously parent their child, whereas
Hmm.
you have to consciously parent your own self. So
First,
you
of course. Yeah.
keep parenting yourself, keep maintaining
Yeah.
that grounding and calm for your own self, and your child
Hmm.
will get raised consciously automatically. So you live your
That's
highest
actually wow. Yeah.
by ourselves, and we have to do everything by ourselves, like all the house chores, managing the baby, working, etc., etc. So it is very easy to get consumed by taking care of a child. Oh, but
Mm.
just as, again, conscious way, we know that we have to remain calm in a situation, any kind of a situation that arises with dealing with a baby. And wherever we reach our threshold of calm, and then we feel that, okay, this is testing my patience, we tap
Yeah.
and we call the other one, you know, because it is my energy that is going to the baby. And we are energy beings, and children more than adults can read and perceive energy. So I do not
Yeah.
want to interact with my baby in a state where I am anxious or I am not balanced, because that's what she will perceive and will project. So children are mirror. So uh, consciously just ensuring that you do not create patterns and habits that your child will in future have. Recently I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, my child screams a lot, he throws tantrums. And then I laugh in my head and think that, weren't you screaming just an hour back? So that's where the child is getting it from, the fruit doesn't fall very far from the tree. So yeah, so consciously parent yourself is the mantra that I think I live by. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Wow, that's quite powerful. And so, okay, give me an example of, you're there with your baby and you can feel that you're beginning to get triggered by whatever it is. So then what kind of a conversation will you have with your husband? Like, what are you going to say to him? And how does he then step into it? And like, how does that usually play out?
Asking for help is the best thing that I have ever learned in my life. And there's no problem in
Okay.
asking for help. It is very simple as saying as that, hey, I think that I'm feeling overwhelmed. I just need a break. Why don't you take care of her so that, I can just ground myself and, sit or have a glass of water. But by God's grace, my baby is a very easy peasy and a happy child. Uh, because somehow the conscious conception works. It worked. A lot of people call me
Yeah.
lucky that, अरे आपकी बेटी बहुत प्यारी है, आपकी बेटी बहुत सीधी है. Because I am not pyari and seedhi, to be very honest. But I know who I am. I'm this gentle, loving, kind person at the core of it. And I keep telling myself and I keep acknowledging the inner child in me, you know. And when I remember that, it's easier to ensure that I stay in that spirit so that my baby can thrive and nurture from it. I am nobody to raise her. I am just here to ensure that she's exposed to the world enough and in the right way that she can form her own decisions and live this life. Though she's just 7 months old, she's not deciding anything right now, but in future, yeah.
Wow. Wow. Oof. Yeah, that sounds like some really good parenting. Wow.
Because whenever I thought about healing or whatever healing I did for myself, everything took me back to my first 4, 5, or 6 years of life.
Hmm.
So whenever I started going deep into the layers of who I am or where is this coming from, it just always took me back. I was like, oh, interesting. So everything happens when you are 5 or 6 years old. And
Yeah.
70 to 80% of subconscious actually forms up until you are 3 years old. So I
Oh,
was
wow.
like,
It's three.
okay, yes.
Wow.
And 90% of the subconscious forms up until you're 7 years old. So
Seven. Yeah.
entire programming happens in these years. So I'm like, I better
Yeah.
be good at this programming because that is going to shape who she will
Yeah.
become, right?
That's amazing.
Um,
Wow.
yeah. So it all we talk about healing or we talk about um, letting go of those wounds. But now I'm of the opinion that why not start right at the root, that you create a child that doesn't need healing, that lives in a
Wow.
place where people are conscious of their own egos or their own value systems and are making more aligned actions. So if I don't live my highest self, if I don't do the things that I want to do, I will never become the best mother that I want to become for my child. So for me to become the
Mm.
best mother, or just a nurturing and loving mother, I have to become the best version of my own self. Yeah.
Yeah. And also subconsciously, that is the message that she will get that, oh, like there's there's something wrong if you have to go after your soul's truth because like I don't see my mom doing it. So clearly
Yeah.
there's something
Yeah.
wrong about it, right? Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, now I'd like you to, share with me if you're comfortable with regarding your inner child. Like, when was the first time you discovered or you were awakened to the fact that there is an inner child? When did that happen for you?
It's funny how we thrive in challenges of our lives, so my up until I was 25 years old, when I had all these challenges in my life, my inner child, or I was thriving. I was doing everything that I wanted in my life, and I was a rebel, uh, because I had seen so much, things that weren't working for me. I reached a point where I was like, fuck everything, I will just do whatever comes from within. I started recognizing and acknowledging my inner child only when I hit the tracks of depression, and I found that I am sobbing and crying for no reason at all, and I am living a life which maybe was my dream, but I'm not satisfied in this life. So then I realized that, oh, the inner child, which has gone through years and years of regression and repression, and needs some kind of love, and suddenly I actually grew up way too fast than other kids around me. So I had to heal and tell my 5-year-old self that, hey, just look at the screen and look where you are 25 years ahead, and you have come back to who you truly are, and acknowledging the spirit within you, acknowledging my ancestors around me, and acknowledging this energy being that I am. So yeah, now I sometimes, once a quarter, I just look at my inner child or see myself in the past or even in the future, because my subconscious remembers and knows everything. I just sometimes try and connect all of them in one place and realize that everything exists now, and the eternal is now, and I just have to flow and go with it. Yeah.
Are there any practices that you possibly have where you connect with your inner child, or is that something you don't really do uh, very often?
Generally, when I'm working with my self sabotage patterns, my inner child kind of comes up, or whenever I'm trying to break a boundary for myself, my inner child
Mhm.
starts creeping up. It's not that I have any kind of a particular process to it, but
Okay.
I generally just pick up some meditation from one of these platforms that I use and try and revisit when I was a kid, and feel my inner child energy and try to uplift it and make it realize that everything is safe for it now, and it is safe to express of who I am, and I am not what the society conditioned me to be. I am not anyone's judgment or anyone's opinions. I am this eternal being who's just experiencing and expressing life. So yeah, so just some form of meditation and some kind of journaling of putting my thoughts down and telling it is safe, because subconscious, it's one of the mechanism of it to protect your own self by giving you blockages. So I always tell it that it's safe to express and safe to thrive and just be who I am. Yeah. So one of
Yeah,
these
so I think
meditations.
safety.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
safety is everything, right? Communicating safety
Yeah.
to your nervous system or your subconscious, like it's
Yeah.
all the same
Yeah.
thing. But
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
yeah.
Something very interesting I learned recently, Akanksha, that if you know that whenever you're walking with a baby, if you're holding a baby in your arms and you're walking, the baby is fine. But the moment you sit down, the baby starts crying. So I was very intrigued with it. I was like, ये ऐसे क्यों होता है? जैसे बैठती हूँ मैं, ये रोने क्यों लगती है? I started
Oh,
reading about it. I
yeah.
started reading about it, and I found out that because your brain and your programming is so ancient that in our ancestors, when we were in jungles and we were living this wanderer life, movement meant safety, that you are moving, hence you are safe, like nobody can catch you. The moment you sit
Wow,
down at ease, you are now susceptible to some kind of attack, or something will happen to you. So that
that's
programming is still bloody
crazy.
stored. I was like, what is this? Wow. Like, this baby is in my arms. It knows that I am here to love her, cuddle her, protect her. But the brain tells, hey, don't sit, it's not safe. So,
That's so fascinating. Wow. Okay, now I quickly want to also ask you what your personal experience was in the breathwork that you did with me, the online breathwork that you did. If you could talk a little bit about that.
I'll just add my own personal bit here, that last year when I came across your profile that you are doing breath work, it was it just took me back to my thought, oh, that I want to work with this woman, because now I saw this another woman that I really cherish and like, working on this, like on a similar path, like more people awakening and more people becoming part of a collective. So I came to your container, or your space with no expectation at all. I just knew that I will get some kind of a reset, and the space that you had created allowed me to again, revisit my inner child. uh so much, how I talk about, that I have healed myself, or I'm still at it, but there are layers which are so decoded into our programming that it it takes
Yeah.
ages and years and practice to actually come out of it. So the breathwork session with you allowed me to actually go back to my old self and again tell that, oh, you are safe and you are in a place where everything is working out for you. The breath allowed me to balance my own nervous system and understand that I am in control of my life, and it is okay to feel these emotions, and it is only
Mm,
human to feel these emotions. So it was emotionally, it was very charging for me,
okay.
recharging, let's say, that I was able to let go a lot, and also receive in terms of blessing and relaxation that I had at the end of the session. So the closing was beautiful for me, and the entire duration, it is kind of like a workout for your brain and your breath, right? So you
Yeah.
are, yeah, it is fascinating that how your body and your breath can take you to places. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like a lot of people, it's just for a lot of people, they compare it with plant medicine
Yeah.
ceremonies because it
Yeah.
does alter
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
consciousness to such a great extent. Of course, it doesn't happen with everyone, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's very fascinating. All right, thank you so much for sharing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Um, I would like to ask you what has been. You said that you went through depression. What was that point, and what was it that started to get you out of your depression? Is there something certain that you remember that either happened or you discovered something?
There was a point where I knew that I have to change things. Uh,
Okay.
so this happened with my husband, that once I was in this party, like a friend's wedding, and I got really drunk. And after getting drunk, I created like a scene that I fought with my husband, created like a messy situation. So when that happened, I realized and I accepted, like I had acceptance in myself since the beginning somehow, Again, that
Mhm.
is your highest self expressing through you and telling you that, hey, this is wrong, and you have to move away from it. Um,
Yeah.
so when that incident happened in my life, I knew that uh the shit has hit the ceiling, and it's time for me to patch it up and move forward from it. So that was
Right.
like a pretty strong enough mark for me, where I realized that I have to now work on so many layers of trauma, and the trauma induced life that I was living. I was drinking a lot, escaping the real truth, and not feeling the dark feelings, and just trying
Yeah.
to get away from it. So that incident kind of, you know, shook the grounds for me, and I wanted to take charge and change things for myself. Yeah.
Okay. And then what was it that you did? Like, what kind of help did you seek? Did you get therapy, or is there something else you tried?
I have spoken about it quite often that it there's no guarantee that one thing will work for you. Uh,
Of
so
course.
I started with therapy. I went to a psychotherapist and I started taking weekly sessions. Every time I used to go to her, I used to talk about my childhood. Uh, but it didn't help me. It was excruciating for me because every time I used to remember something that I had forgotten or I didn't even know that it is still stored in my system. So not
Mm,
that I wanted to suppress everything, but I wasn't ready to feel each and everything to process it, if it is making sense.
yeah. Yeah.
I knew that
Yeah.
there are other ways that I can help myself, so I stopped my psychotherapy. I started with this
Okay.
daily practice of mindfulness. I started meditating, I started journaling on a regular basis. I did a lot
All
of
right.
courses. I did hypnotherapy. I did online hypnotherapy couple of times to let go of, whatever is still stored in there. I used plant medicines also to, unlearn or to forgive a lot of these layers. Um, so it has
Yeah.
been a journey. As I said, it has been 5 or 6 years, but meditation is what really helped me to come back to me and processing my
Okay.
own anger, processing my own thoughts, and trying to understand that, hey, I am behaving this way because of this. So because I'm not this X anymore, I can let go of that Y which is stopping me or making me behave in this manner. So a lot of
Yeah.
retraining, relearning,
Yeah.
and acceptance, and then a lot of silent retreats, a lot of detoxification of the body. I remember in 2022 I didn't eat any salt, sugar. Like, only I used to eat only veggies and fruits without
Okay.
anything for 45 days. So I knew that I have to clean my entire system for some rigorous healing to happen.
Wow.
So yeah, 2022
Wow.
was the year where I was like, it's enough is enough, because I had been meditating, I had been journaling for a very long time. But you have to then get into a space and container for yourself where you are like, hey, 3 months or 4 months, I am going to shift and change the narrative of my own brain, because everything is stored here.
Yes.
Where whatever I do,
Yeah.
it is so easy to fall back into the same old patterns. So you have to make like a
Yeah.
transformative shift for things to happen. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing that. Um, I would also love for you to talk a little bit about your marriage, right? Your marriage container. How do you guys have any conscious practices that you guys do together in order to, create safety for each other, or in order to build deeper intimacy? I'd love for you to share whatever you'd like to.
I truly believe in the fact that you don't do anything, and it is, like some higher power which kind of redirects you on the highway of life and shows you the way. So to say that, yes, me and my husband, we live a mindful life, or we are mindful of each other, uh, is more of a blessing that has come from our guardian angels or from the universe to be in a space like this together. I just want to acknowledge that first. So back in 2022, my husband, any which ways, has been this cushion for me since past 7 8 years. He held me, he helped me. during my entire depression phase, though he wasn't able to understand what I'm going through. And he had his own fair share of learning that what and how to live with a depressed person. And it is very difficult,
Yeah.
to be very honest, because we are energy beings. One person's energy affects the other so easily. uh
Yeah.
but yeah, he has always been that amazing listener or an amazing friend to have. But back in 2022, things accelerated for us when the layers of the universe kind of starts opening to you, when you realize that this is not your first life, when you realize that you are much more than your job or your career or your car or your home. Your responsibility is towards the soul within you. When once we had this realization, um, we started meditating a lot together. uh, we did a few rituals of plant ceremonies together to awaken the DNA and the plethora of information that is stored but subdued in your subconscious. Um, we kind of ensured that we understand where the other person is coming from. So again,
Mm.
understanding layers of the other person's formation, or what the other person has been designed throughout this 25 or 35 years of conditioning. So once you have just general more awareness and love for the other person, it is so easy to love
Mm.
a happy person, but your true love kind of shows or creeps up in your dark and tough times. So my husband has been this amazing loving person, and we show kindness towards each other, which I feel that sometimes people forget to show in their
Yeah.
most close and special relationships, because you're taking that person for granted. And you are
Yeah.
living in your own patterns and traumas that you don't see where they are coming from. So just
Mm.
opening the container for the other person also to grow and just to feel and be.
All right.
But going back to your question, we do sometimes of intention setting together. We talk about how we want to raise our daughter and how we want to change our own habits and practices, so communication is the key, and having like a open heart while you're communicating is something that helps us a lot. Yeah.
All right, that's great. And is it like, do you do it in a structured way where like, okay, once a month we will sit down and then, discuss like what our intentions are going forward, or does it just happen very organically?
I am more of like a ritual person, so I want him to come to the meditation room, like sit with me and do all of that.
Amazing.
Uh,
Love that. Love that. Yeah.
he isn't one of that kind, but somehow organically we arrive in a space, or we find ourselves sitting together and meditating together, or talking about things that are stopping us or blocking us, or things that we need to open more to thrive, and patterns and mindsets that we both have to change. For example, currently I'm working on creating my own work around conscious conception. I want to go out as much as possible to awaken people to this whole concept of bringing next generation into this planet more consciously. So sometimes, because I'm one person army, it is difficult for me, to achieve a thing that I thought for myself. But then I always have him as a
Yeah.
teammate. I go to him and I talk about what I'm feeling, how I'm feeling, and then he's able to regulate whatever is stopping me or blocking me, so it's nice to have this person that you
That's
can
beautiful.
share and talk and communicate. Yeah. Not that we
That's
do
beautiful.
perfectly
Wow.
all the time, but we just strive for it.
Of
Yeah.
course. No, but just, I mean, I think it's great just the fact that, you're saying that you want to do it in a space of ritual, but he's not exactly like that. So you both find
Yeah.
something that then works in the
Yeah.
middle, and then you do these
Yeah.
practices together, you meditate together, you
Yeah.
set intentions
Yeah.
together. That's beautiful. Yeah. All right. And I also wanted to touch upon this I feel like this concept of, investing in yourself, because this was a conversation we had when we met. I don't know if you remember. And it was like, we were talking about how you did that course, and it was like, it cost a chunk of money. And then I was talking about my breathwork training and how that cost a chunk of money. And for me, it was, I was investing in myself after many, many, many years. I had not done it for so long that I had pretty much forgotten the concept that yes, you can invest in yourself, you should invest in yourself, and you should keep investing in yourself. That is how you kind of grow and you expand further into your journey. So what are your thoughts on, investing in yourself? You did a course. I don't know if it's over or not, but then what was that journey for you like? Like, was it easy for you to make that decision to just, and do make that investment and be like, yeah, this is what I kind of want to do? Or was it something that took time for you to come to that decision?
When I was growing up and I was in college, I feel that I wasn't able to invest the right amount of energy or dedication towards whatever I was doing. So
Mhm.
I had like a setback from that. 5 or 6 years back, I started investing myself in smaller spaces, or in whichever way possible. Say for example, doing a 1 hour or 2 hour NLP course, or going for a hypnotherapy session, um,
Hmm.
or going for a silent retreat, because I feel that I and the subconscious might know everything, but the access to that knowledge might not be available to me if I am not going into a space or container to learn.
Mhm.
I believe that I don't know anything. I am just opening this plethora of knowledge which is stored inside but still needs like a platform to open up. um
Yeah.
Having said that, if I don't open the space on my table, if my table is overloaded with stuff, and if I don't create space for new things to come in, it will all just turn into a one big mess. So sometimes to beautifully curate your life, you need to fix that investment piece for yourself, whether it is in form of meditation, or it is in form of letting go of a relationship, or it is in form of an investment to make
Yeah.
any kind of growth or change. You need to change the environment that you are living in whichever way possible, or positive by bringing something in, or negative by throwing something out. So
Yeah.
I and as you said that you talked about your higher self, that you are that higher self now. So my higher self, for it to thrive, if I need to learn something, then I will invest into that. uh
Yeah.
because now I just listen to the universe and the source, and keep flowing with it. So investment of any sorts in whatever you want to learn, you want to experience, or you want to live, I think it's very crucial to make any kind of change. Having said that, not everything happens via a course. You still have
Hmm.
each and every tool system within you to make any kind of change. Because sometimes people think, oh, I don't have anything, oh, I can't make this change, I'm restricted by this or that. So not that any kind of investment is the only option. A lot of times just sitting with yourself might give you the right answers. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, even for me, it was like I reached this space of wanting to invest in myself only when I actually had just begun my healing journey. So again, it was that
Mm-hmm.
call from my higher
Mm.
self that yeah, this is something that your soul wants to do. And then I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what else is the fucking money for? So like
Mm.
fucking spend it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the last
Mm-hmm.
time I spent money on learning something was college, and it wasn't even my money, it was my parents' money, right? So this was the first time after so many years I was like, wow, like I really want to do this, and I was scared to do it because I hadn't done it in so long. And like I was coming at this in the way of saying that when you invest in yourself, you send that signal to the universe that yeah, I think I am I'm worthy. I want to grow. And so when the universe sees you meeting it halfway, then the universe also shows up and she's like, okay, let me give you some more and then more. And that is how like these doors just keep on opening after that, which has been my experience after I did that. Like, so it's amazing to invest in yourself. And I want more women to do that because I think you just forget sometimes, like I did.
One crazy thing that I remembered on that lines when you said that when you meet halfway, it shows or it opens the door. So last year, I was on this flight coming from India back to Ireland, and I was journaling. That's my favorite thing to do whenever I'm all by myself. And I just had this intention of that I want to speak more about my experience, whether it's in form of a
Mm.
podcast or in form of like a speaking engagement on a stage or whatever platform. So I wrote this on my flight from Delhi to London, and then I shut the journal, and now I'm on my next flight from London to Ireland. You won't believe, the I walk towards my seat and I see this a big person, and he is in the middle seat. The moment I saw him, I was like, hey, I'm on the window seat, why don't you take it? And he was like, are you sure? You must have booked it. I was like, yeah, that's all right, I'll sit in the middle. And this person turns out to be a professional speaker. And just an
Oh,
hour back, I am
okay.
telling my journal that I want to become a speaker. And the moment he said that,
Wow.
I was like, okay, this for me is no accident or incident. It is all planted by
Of
the
course.
universe, because you are opening your container and you are telling that I am ready to shine. So the universe will be like,
Yes.
ye lo,
Yes.
yahi tumhe chahiye. So see,
Yes.
and now I'm in constant communication with this person, and I reach out to him
Oh, wow.
sometimes when I am trying to navigate something. So it is just magical that the
That's
moment you
beautiful.
change your container, it kind of just starts dropping things on your plate. But it all has to come from a
Yeah.
space of gratitude and positivity and enjoying what you have
Gratitude and like
now.
just being open. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is the key. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh,
Mm.
just to add to that, like this morning when I was taking a
Yeah.
shower and I was getting ready, it just clicked me. I was like, hey, 1 second, today is one of my dream moments, right? I dreamt about it. Like I thought that, hey, I want to do something with Akanksha, and today it is happening. So the moment I
Yes, queen.
acknowledged, yeah, the moment it acknowledged and it came in my body, suddenly my vibration uplifted. Suddenly I was,
Mm.
moving in the bathroom and looking at my baby and telling her that I am going to do this
Mm.
amazing podcast, like feeling it you know
Yeah.
so feeling with gratitude and liveliness, yeah, just changes the
Yeah.
game
When this
altogether.
happens, like to me, when your vibe just suddenly changes and you realize something amazing has happened, I call them like
Yeah, yeah,
cosmic orgasms for myself. It
that
feels
should
really good
be.
in the body,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. you I literally feel vibrations. Like I feel that, oh, suddenly my
Yeah,
body has
exactly.
uplifted,
Yeah.
and then there's this tingling kind of
Hmm.
feeling wherever I'm feeling it. So yeah,
Yeah. They're
movement
little
and
cosmic
dance and
orgasms.
just, yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah. All right, great. So, okay, to
yeah.
wrap this up, I'm going to ask you if you were to give one piece of advice to your younger self at any age, what would it be?
I would just tell her that you chose this for a purpose, and I just want to remind you or tell you that your purpose has been met and you are walking on that path. So congratulations. It might
Wow.
look difficult, but you are killing at it, and that's what it was destined for you to shine. So sail through it. It is going to be brighter, and you are here for a reason and purpose, and you have just acknowledged and embodied it. So yeah.
Wow. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you. And one more thing. Well, I want to ask you what is that one book that you have read that has had the most impact on you? It could be in any like on any subject, but which is the book that comes to mind?
I used to be an avid reader of fiction earlier, but now I read only non-fiction. Since past 2 3 years, I only
Okay.
read non-fiction. But a memorable book that I would ask everyone to read is The Midnight Library. It's a fiction.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
it kind of touches the fact of parallel lives and source of life in a very interesting story kind of a format, of
Oh
how
wow.
your life can take any shape or form depending upon the choices that
Mhm.
you make.
At
It's
every
like a
step,
beautiful
right?
book.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a beautiful book navigating about a women's life, and it shows her different life spaces on the choices that she has made. So it gives you like this power to just acknowledge that you are the creator of your own life. You are here just to play
Absolutely.
this drama and game of life, and do that in love and do that with joy and just flow. So Midnight Library is one of the book that comes to my mind. Yeah.
Amazing. I think I'm also going to get it and read it because I have never heard of
Yeah.
it also. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And if people want to find you, people want to work with you, especially mums who are not yet mums, but they want to be mums, where can they find you? How can they get in touch with you?
uh, I can share my Instagram handle. It's
I'll put
simply
all that
Oshika.
in the. All
Yeah,
right.
and so if you want to work with me, just book a call with me. It's on my Instagram, and we can talk and share and see where one is in their own journey, how much of healing they need before they need to get pregnant, or how they can consciously connect with the spirit of their baby and invite their child in their lives. So yeah, if you want to learn and know more, just go ahead and book a call, and we can talk and take it from there. So yeah.
And is this only for women who are not yet pregnant, or can also women who are pregnant, or also women who've already birthed children? Do you
So
offer
this
any kind of support to?
so if you are pregnant and if you're thinking of pregnant, that is 90% of
That's
my
all. Okay.
community that I generally work with here in Ireland. Also, I have a few women that I work with who are already pregnant. uh,
All
However,
right.
if you already have a baby as well, and if you are stressed and you don't know how to navigate through this crazy parenting, then you can also reach out and we can fix a session and see what the challenges are and work ways to make it fulfilling and full of gratitude as it should be. So yes, mothers,
Oh,
non-mothers, anybody who needs inner child healing or needs some kind of love can reach out and we can work together. Yeah.
that's beautiful. All right. Thank you, Ashika. This has been so much fun. I have learned so much today. So thank you for being there today. And I think women are going to love this episode because I personally have met a few women recently, new mums who are just a bit overwhelmed with how things are.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's, I mean, I can't really relate. Like I can feel into it, but I can't relate because I
Hmm.
have not been a mom, so I don't know. But yeah, I can imagine it's quite tough. So we need more people like
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. It is
Yeah.
something that you are thrown into without any training or without any idea of what you're getting into. So a lot of
Yeah.
support and a lot of community building is needed around these new moms,
Mm,
especially in this modern times, because one is
yeah.
expected to deliver a child and go back to work after 3 months or 6 months or whatever the timelines look for them,
Mm,
without even acknowledging such a momentous change or a momental uh, point of their life where they have become mothers and their new life. So yeah, some kind of learning and hand holding is needed in that space for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Oshika.
Thank you so much,
I'm
Akanksha.
sending you lots of love, and I hope I will see you again soon. Thank you.